Hello, and welcome to another video to teach you about the wonderful world of Latin. Today's video will teach you about first and second declension ER adjectives. As you remember, an adjective is a word that describes a noun, and Latin adjectives have three qualities. These are the same three qualities as a Latin noun: gender, number, and case. You also should remember that Latin adjectives take their qualities from the noun that they modify, so they will agree in gender, number, and case. You probably also remember that Latin adjectives come in two groups: first and second declension adjectives that have that us a pattern, and then third declension adjectives that you don't know yet and we'll talk about much later. The first and second declension adjectives, like we talked about, have the dictionary entry like magnus, magna, magnum, the us a pattern. The us or magnus form is your masculine singular nominative, your is your feminine singular nominative form, and the is the neuter singular nominative form. The ER adjectives are just a smaller group of these first and second declension adjectives. For example, pulcher, pulchra, pulchrum. Your pulcher, your ER form, is the masculine singular nominative. This makes sense. Remember, there's puer as a masculine singular nominative form of the second declension noun, puer, pueri. The pulchra form is the feminine singular nominative, just like the ending on magna, and pulchrum is the neuter singular nominative form, just like the ending on magnum. So these ER adjectives will have a dictionary entry that ends in a but they're still first and second declension adjectives. So before we talk about declining them, let's remember one thing. Adjectives will not always have the same endings as the noun they modify. So far, for most of our adjectives, they've looked like amicus bonus, where the us on bonus is the exact same ending as amicus. But remember, this is because they are both nominative singular masculine. If we look at agricola bonus, you're familiar that they're both nominative singular masculine, and so that's why bonus modifies agricola, even though they have a different ending. With ER adjectives, this will probably also be the case, that your ending may resemble your noun ending, but it does not have to. So amicus is modified by pulcher, and agricola is also modified by pulcher, because all of these words are nominative singular masculine. So let's talk about how we decline our ER adjectives. To do this, let's first review how we talked about our adjectives in the past. In the past, we had our noun, like otium, ote here, we declined it, and then we took our nominative singular form from our dictionary entry, tuum, and then we obtained our base to add our case and number endings from the feminine singular nominative form. We just removed that a ending and then filled in all of our endings based on the gender. Since otium, ote is neuter, and in first and second declension, most neuter nouns are in the second declension, we used second declension endings after the to base. We will basically follow the same pattern for our ER adjectives. So let's look at that with pulcher, pulchra, pulchrum, and as an example, we will use it to modify amicus, amici. So first, let's decline amicus, amici. Here we go. Next, we need to take our nominative singular ending from the dictionary entry. Since amicus amici is masculine, we will use that first form of our dictionary entry, pulcher. And because just like our second declension nouns, if it ends in an ER in the nominative singular masculine, that will be the same form for our vocative. So amicae pulcher. Next, we need to figure out how to modify all of our other cases with pulcher, pulchra, pulchrum. So, just as we did before, we get our base from the feminine singular nominative part of our dictionary entry. We just remove the A, and then everything that remains is our base. So we can use that pulchra as our base for all our other forms. Next, we need to add our case and number endings that are appropriate to modify amicus amici. Because amicus amici is masculine, and in the first and second declensions, most masculine nouns are second declension, we use second declension endings. So pulchri modifies amici in the genitive singular. Our dative singular forms will be amico pulchro, accusative singular amicum pulchrum, amico pulchro. Vocative, remember, is amicae pulcher. Our nominative plural will be amici pulchri. The genitive plural will be amicorum pulchrorum. Dative, amicis pulchris. Accusative, amicos pulchros. Ablative plural, amicis pulchris. And lastly, the vocative plural, amici pulchri. Please make sure you have all of these parts of the chart written down, and then move on to our next slide. And it's your turn to practice. So modify the noun puella puellae with the adjective pulcher, pulchra, pulchrum. Pause the video and then check your work once you have completed your task. Here are your answers. Remember, for the nominative singular, you just take your dictionary entry, pulchra, because it is feminine singular nominative, so puella pulchra. Then we need to get our stem to modify puellae in the genitive from our feminine singular nominative form. We just remove the A to get pulchra as our stem. And then, because puella puellae is feminine, and most first and second declension nouns that are feminine are in the first declension, we use first declension endings on our base pulchra. So puella pulchri in the genitive and dative, puellam pulchram in the accusative, puella pulchra in the ablative, puella pulchra in the vocative, puellae pulchri in the nominative plural, puellarum pulchrarum in the genitive plural, puellis pulchris in the dative plural, puellas pulchras in the accusative plural, puellis pulchris in the ablative plural, puellae pulchri in the vocative plural. Please finish checking your work and then move on to the next slide. So, now let's talk about translating our ER adjectives. They work just like all your other adjectives to translate them. Remember, they will modify other nouns, so first figure out what nouns do the adjectives in this sentence modify. Remember that the adjectives tend to follow the noun that they modify, and they will agree with the noun in gender, number, and case. So, meus modifies wir. Meus is one of those adjectives that tends to come before a noun. And libera modifies patriam, because liberam is also feminine accusative singular, and meus is also masculine nominative singular like wir. Now, figure out what are the uses of cases for each of our nouns and adjectives so that we can use those in order to translate our sentence. You're right if you said that meus vir is your nominative subject. Remember, one way to make sure that this word is the subject is that the nominative will agree with the verb in gender. So serwobat, our third person singular imperfect active indicative verb, is singular, just like meus vir. You're right if you said that patriam liberam is our accusative direct object, and gloria is ablative, the object of a preposition. And remember that our preposition usually comes right before its object, and the object of the preposition will be in either the accusative or the ablative case. So now, translate our sentence using all of our uses of cases and knowing which adjectives modify which nouns. You're right if you said that our sentence translates to my man, meus vir, was protecting serwobat, the free fatherland, the patriam liberam, without glory, sine gloria. Altogether, my man was protecting the free fatherland without glory. Now it's your turn to check your understanding. Here are 2 questions to practice with your ER adjectives. Decline our noun donum doni, our nice neuter noun, and modify it with the adjective noster, nostra, nostrum, and then parse the following noun adjective pairs. So tell us our gender, number, and case of these 5 noun adjective pairs. Remember that for an adjective to modify a noun, they need to agree in gender, number, and case. So filius and liber will have the same gender, number, and case. Once you have finished these 2 tasks, call me over and I will check your work. If you need help completing these tasks, feel free to call me over, ask questions, or look back at earlier parts of the video. Thank you.